Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. To start things off, the Bitcoin price has a CME gap at $3,500, and given the historical tendency of Bitcoin to close it, there exists a possibility that the dominant cryptocurrency may retest the $3,000 region once again. Earlier this month, former International Monetary Fund economist and hedge fund manager Mark Dow described Bitcoin as a textbook short, noting that the macro trend of Bitcoin remains unfavorable to buyers. Here's his tweet right here with a little chart that he decided to put up on Twitter. The CME gap occurs when the Bitcoin price moves from the CME Bitcoin futures market is closed during or after market hours. Got that? Good. For instance, if the Bitcoin price was at 6,600 when the futures market closes and it surges to 7,000 when it opens, there is a 6,600 to a $7,000 gap on the CME. Although the CME has accounted for a large portion of the global exchange volume of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin price does not gravitate towards the CME gaps. It typically closes in on the gap when it is supported with other structures such as momentum, volume, buying, selling pressure, and technical structures. In fact, a strong argument can be made that the CME gaps are of less importance given the noticeable decline in the volume of the futures market since March. So without having to read much, because it kind of just continues on, the argument is and has been for quite a while that since the end of 2017, when Bitcoin futures markets were announced, created, launched within the United States, that Bitcoin has to close the gap between the price of Bitcoin and the price of the futures market. Now, I have my own ideas as to why that sounds or should be complete nonsense. However, the argument constantly is and has been for quite a while that the futures market in some way controls the price of Bitcoin. If we see Bitcoin on our side at 6,500 and the futures market is around 5,000 during the next couple of days, we will usually see a bit of a slide down in the actual Bitcoin price because the gap has to close between the futures. Why this happens, I have no idea. I just assume it's whales also manipulating both markets, because that doesn't, once again, for the 9 bajillionth time, what the futures market says doesn't coincide with the fundamentals of Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency market. The people in the futures market could say that Bitcoin is worth $1. Does that mean that Bitcoin is now suddenly worth $1 because the futures market says so? Probably not. So, it looks like right now, and remember I said this over the last couple of days as well. I said I'm seeing a lot more doomy, gloomy predictions of people constantly announcing that Bitcoin has to go lower, Bitcoin has to do this, Bitcoin needs to go down, Bitcoin is on its way down. Over the last, it's been about a good 6-7 days as of right now. So, as it even says it right here, we keep rejecting, or we're rejected by the $7,100 level, and we are currently at 66. I think this is even off by like a little tiny bit. I think we're like at 67, 68 right now. It appears, it even says it, I think this one is more accurate right here, and then the other one. It says this valid head and shoulders pattern could be devastating for Bitcoin. Seeing these articles all over the place as far as it looks like we're getting ready to drop once again. And this could also be, depending on how you want to look at it, it is either because the world economy is not doing well. The world economy is looking like it's not going to do well for a very long time. It could be because of the gap in the futures, or it could be like I've seen a couple of people say in the comment section, it could just simply be because all speculative assets right now are, I don't want to use the word being drained, but people are taking their money out of them simply because they require necessities, they require food, they require what have you during this, not even a hard period. This is a very rough period for a lot of people. So as it stands right now, this is more of a get ready should it happen kind of situation, because we are not very far off from Bitcoin's halving, and it was predicted that the Bitcoin market would be moving up in tandem with the hype as we get closer to the actual halving. But we all know the world is in a state right now, so I guess it is entirely understandable that things may not be going our way price-wise, especially as we move further into the mud. Anyway, yeah, I mean, we've done it before. We were, what was it, 4 or 5 weeks ago? Bitcoin hit 3,700 and then popped back up to 5,100. It's entirely possible. I think I'm readier now than I was before. I missed that dip the last time. I will not miss it again. I assure you. Anyway, yeah, that's the Bitcoin could possibly be going down news based off of the idea that we have to fill the gap between the futures and also just the economy's a mess right now. And even right here, it says, contrary to popular belief, Bitcoin isn't consistently correlated to anything. Oh gosh, where was the other one? There was another article that I saw. It had to be about a day or two ago. And it was someone discussing, I think, the stock to flow ratio thing as far as like where Bitcoin's going to go in price and the stock to flow against gold and et cetera, et cetera. And they were talking about the actual correlation between all of these things. And they were like, Bitcoin's not correlated at all. But then the person inside the article was like, well, every single time that the futures goes up or down, Bitcoin seems to follow it. Every single time that this happens, Bitcoin seems to follow it. When the stock market goes down, Bitcoin also goes down. So it's like this really, I don't think anyone knows. And I think the crypto market is still far too new to not be uncorrelated at all. I think if we give it, if crypto has come this far in 9, 10, 11 years, I give it a good 5 to 10 years before we are incredibly stable and very solidified. So I think it's totally believable that if you are fearful in one market, because you have to also assume that the markets at some point bleed into each other. A lot of the people who left from Wall Street have moved into crypto. I'm sure a lot of people who are into crypto also have stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. So at some point they do kind of intertwine, and fear begets fear. That sure. So anyway, that's the potential Bitcoin could be going down news. I expect it at this point. What was the news that we had last week? It was like 3 or 4 analysts who said that before. It was the guy from BitMEX. It was it Tim Draper, and there was a third person who all said that before the halving happens, we're going to see a dip to around 3,000-ish. And then after that, this is when they all had the wild predictions of Bitcoin going to 20,000, 50,000, 60,000, what have you. Yeah, let's move on. In great, wonderful, happy news, that was sarcasm. Big banks are predicting a major recession, the deepest one in the post-war era. JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon said his bank cannot be immune to the resulting financial stress, while the Bank of America expects the U.S. economy to collapse. Oh gosh. And Deutsche Bank has forecasted a severe global recession. Oh, this gets worse. The word collapse. In his annual letter to shareholders published this week, JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon outlined measures the bank has taken to prepare for the actual new crisis. Dimon admitted, "We do not know how this crisis will ultimately end, including how long it will last, how much economic damage it will do, or how fast or slow the recovery will be." He further said, "We stopped buying back our stock," noting that halting buybacks was a prudent action. The JP Morgan CEO continued, "We don't know exactly what the future will hold, but at a minimum, we assume that this will include a bad recession combined with some kind of financial stress similar to the global financial crisis of 2008. Wow. He said, "Knowing there will be a major recession means that we are exposing ourselves to billions of dollars of additional credit losses. Our banks cannot be immune to the stress effects of this kind of stress." Bank of America U.S. economist Michelle Meyer wrote in a note to clients published in March, "We are officially declaring that the economy has fallen into a recession and it is a deep plunge. Jobs will be lost, wealth will be destroyed, and confidence depressed, emphasizing that it is only going to get worse." Geez, I don't even want to read anymore. The point is, remember last week, it wasn't JP Morgan. Which bank was it? We were talking about a bank that came forward and they were like, yeah, things aren't looking good. Historically, when things are bad, many institutions and banks and governments don't tell you that it's bad. They kind of say, things are fine, things are okay, don't even worry. They may fix the problem by throwing money at it behind the scenes. Things start to look a bit better, and then, crisis? What crisis? There was no crisis. So when they come out and say it, that means, yeah. So I read another article. I don't have it in here because it seemed a bit redundant. There was another analysis of what's going to happen within the European economy. Apparently, so saith the article, all the stuff that's been happening over the last couple of years between Greece, Spain, and Italy, jobless numbers, tax situations, what have you, that apparently the European economy will be one of the hardest hit on the planet by all of this recession talk that we have going on. We already know that we're in a recession, but apparently it is expected to get much worse. There are many places around the world, a couple, who have discussed like reopening things, slowly trying to get back to normal. We'll see exactly how that ends up panning out. I guess it's the light at the end of the tunnel. We'll see exactly how it ends up. I mean, it's difficult because they've seemingly, that is to say, the banks and governments, they've seemingly hunkered down for the trying to brave the storm. And I think for a lot of other people, maybe just people who aren't also into finance, maybe it just doesn't really, not that it doesn't affect them. But I remember, to be fair, in 2007, 8, and 9, when the world economic everything was collapsing, it didn't really affect me. I just wasn't really into finance, so it kind of just went over my head. Anyway, yeah, this is it. And I say this also as I know a lot of people have been waiting for moments like this, not the, the economic doom and gloom, but it's more like I've seen friends and people here saying for a long time they want prices to go down, they want things to collapse, they want things to fall so that they can pick things up cheaper. Well, buddy boy, here's your chance. If everything continues on, by the end of this year, you may get your wish and you may be able to buy up that stock you've always had your eye on, or that crypto you've had your eye on, because the economy's not looking good. Anyway, yeah, try to cheer it up with my voice. Let's move on. Next up, institutional investors at Fidelity Digital Assets can now trade Bitcoin on the US-based exchange known as ErisX through a partnership, or strategic partnership, fancy, designed to increase cryptocurrency exposure for big players. Fidelity's stable of vetted institutional investors will have increased access to Bitcoin's liquidity, according to a press release from ErisX. They said our time-tested and proven central limit order bank book ensures that the best price on the market is available to everyone. They said, we believe ErisX's central limit order book exchange model is critical to maturation of crypto markets, coupled with their technical aptitude, accessible order sizes, geez Louise, and a robust regulatory framework. ErisX is an attractive solution to securely access digital assets. Sure, wonderful. Without having to read any more. It's been a while since we've heard anything Fidelity Bitcoin related. Fidelity is one of the major traditional financial players that has exposed themselves, if you will, to the cryptocurrency space. But we haven't heard that much from them since around late 2018. I think they were expected. I mean, a lot of stuff has seemingly been halted. I assume it has to do with just life. I believe Fidelity was supposed to have launched their, they have their custody service. They were supposed to have launched their cryptocurrency trading desk, whatever you want to call it. And the NASDAQ was also expected to launch a cryptocurrency trading platform, but that also, I guess, has been put far, far, far on the back burner because of everything that's been going on. But yeah, Fidelity people can now trade Bitcoin on ErisX, which I think they acquired. I don't think they're really a partner so much as they have a stake in them, which is kind of weird when they call them a partner. It's like, we own you, but you're our partner. Anyway, that I think that's what it was. So that's the Fidelity news. Wonderful. We'll see how that plays out. We saw the people from the people from Bakkt. You would assume not with the Bakkt name, but with the New York Stock Exchange name, would have a bit more weight in the market, but the CME still has, I think, 4 or 5 times as many players as the New York Stock Exchange does through Bakkt for as far as Bitcoin trading. But yeah, so let's see if Fidelity can actually pull this off. I'm still interested to see if we're going to a couple things. I'm interested to see if we are going to see a movement up in price in crypto as the year continues on, despite the falling traditional markets. And if we'll start to see a huge amount of asset allocation from traditional players into Bitcoin, if this does happen as well. Like if stock markets are going down and crypto just happens to be going up, everybody's going to want to make money. And I think at a certain point, if this does happen, people will become, I want to use the word addicted to making money. Cryptocurrency, the market's a very wild place. It's not in every market, or really any market, that you can kind of open your portfolio, see that it's up 18% one day, down 4% the next, and then up 22% the following day after that. So it would be fascinating, but we'll see how this ends up going. The fact that they've even opened this to the possibility, or that people who are using Fidelity can now also use or trade Bitcoin, is quite fascinating indeed. Let's move on. Next up. The Bitcoin halving countdown has reached the 1 month mark, with estimates targeting 29 to 31 days left to go. The halving event will reduce the amount of new Bitcoin entering the circulation supply by dropping mining rewards by 50%. The event has triggered increasing interest as central banks resort to money printing to counter the economic blow of 19. Bitcoin halving countdown, Bitcoin halving price chart, Bitcoin halving clock are all currently trending on Google as breakout searches in the US. Bitcoin halving prediction, Bitcoin halving price prediction, and Bitcoin halving 2020 are all breakout searches worldwide. There's a little chart right there. Around the globe, Slovenia, St. Helena, Switzerland, Singapore, and the Netherlands lead the world. The world! Slovenia, St. Helena, Switzerland, Singapore, and the Netherlands lead the world in Bitcoin halving searches, according to Google Trends, with South Africa and Venezuela rounding out the top 10. Wow. Listen, that's very unexpected. Of all, I would have assumed you would have got a US in there. Oh, okay, Venezuela's there. Maybe a Japan, South Korea. Wow. Slovenia, St. Helena, Switzerland, Singapore, Netherlands, South Africa, and Venezuela. Okay. Bitcoin has a fixed supply, 21 million units. Number can't be changed. Cryptography, South, world leaders, stop taking interest. James Toronto, head of research at TradeBlock, anticipates a price rise. Following the Bitcoin halving, miners' estimated break-even costs will rise from $7,000 today to $12,000 to $15,000 per Bitcoin after. I would not be surprised if we see Bitcoin prices rise above those levels so that miners remain profitable. And of course, Plan B, who popularized the stock-to-flow model to predict the price of Bitcoin, says to maintain $7,000 since October 2017, Bitcoin must have had about $400 million in new cash inflow every month over the last 2 to 5 years. 30 days times 24 hours times 6 blocks times 12.5 Bitcoin times 7,000, assuming all trading is zero-sum game. So I think his argument is that I think things are bullish because every day, every month over the last 2 to 5 years, we would have had to have $400 million of new cash inflow into Bitcoin just to maintain the 7,000 since the last 3 years. We are closer than ever before. I dare not even think of giving predictions, price predictions, anything like that, simply because who knows exactly what's going to happen. Logically, Bitcoin's price is supposed to rise if we want to have miners continuously mining. This is kind of the idea. But once again, the last 3 years that we've been talking about this, none of us predicted or could have predicted 19. So the fact that it's here and it's ravaging world markets puts a big question mark over everyone's head. Anyway, we are about a month away, so I assume I don't think it's going to happen this week. I give it 2 more weeks. As we're nearing the end of this month, this is when we should start seeing if the market is going to start bubbling or not, or if fear will push us down more. Yeah, let's move on. Oh, this was here. This was, wait, yeah, this was supposed to be here. Why are all the tabs all messed up today? What's wrong with me? Anyway, here we go. Where are the words? There we go. HTC announced a new partnership with ASIC chip design company Midas Labs Fabrication Laboratory to create an application called Deminer. Okay. Deminer, that will allow users of HTC Exodus 1S, its flagship blockchain phone, to mine Monero for less than 50% of what it would typically cost. The Exodus 1S smartphone was the world's first mobile device with support for Bitcoin's full node. HTC shows wide interest in the application of blockchain technology for mobile phones. Deminer is expected to be available in Q2 20. That's now. We're in Q2. Phil Chen, decentralized chief officer. A person can't be decentralized. Decentralized chief officer on HTC, heads of the Exodus project, referred to the Deminer app as one that will help decentralize mining by making it more profitable. Those words are tiny. It said the mature development of energy-saving software on mobile devices, in contrast to power-hungry laptops or desktops, increases the effectiveness and efficiency of the profitability of mining on mobile devices. I'm lucky enough to be at the forefront of these two techniques. What drives our decisions about these technologies is our values, especially the question of who cares? It's all nonsense anyway. They always say something to try and make it seem like they're doing it for the greater good. We all know it's just for money. The application will reportedly make HTC smartphones comparable to regular desktop computers in terms of mining hash capability. Here's a Midas Labs claims that the HTC users will be able to create 1/3 of 1 cent of Monero per day on average, with an electrical cost of less than 50% of their savings. HTC is focused on providing blockchain-based solutions for its customers. This new partnership makes it possible for the company to offer a new way of mining Monero without resorting on powerful and expensive CPUs. It's 1/3 of 1 cent. Even if it was 1 cent, you would get $3.65 per year, so you're getting $1 worth of Monero per year mining on your phone. Is it worth it? Probably not. However, this was a big thing in 2019 when we saw a lot of the cryptocurrency blockchain phones starting to roll out. I mentioned, but first of all, and I hope you paid attention and listened. Remember when I said in late 2018, 2019, I said don't buy any of these phones because they're going to get cheaper. And the first one that came out was, I think, $7.99. And the next one was like $3.99. And I'm like, see, they're going to be cheaper. I like the idea of running Bitcoin full nodes. I like the idea of being able to support the Bitcoin and or any other cryptocurrency network by running a node to be able to validate transactions or to help strengthen the network in some sort of way. However, it seems a bit, it's 1/3 of 1 cent per day. Even if it was like $1 a day, it's still like, I can pick up change off the ground and make more of that. Anyway, that's the major HTC news. I guess because they're a phone company and they're having smart phone blockchain phones, so that makes the news. But I'm still waiting on the $299 phone that runs a Bitcoin, Litecoin, and an Ether node, so I can secure those networks. I wonder if there would ever be like an XRP node phone. I'm sure it's in the works. I'm sure someone has brought it up. Anyway, that's the HTC news for today. I mean, if you really want Monero, yeah, get the phone. Anyway, let's move on. Really, it's 1/3 of a cent. Like, what would you do with 1/3 of it? After 3 days, you got a penny. What are you buying with that? Anyway. Move on. And to kind of finish things off, poor internet service will no longer be an obstacle for Venezuelans to pay with crypto. The Venezuelan exchange Cryptolago announced earlier this week the launch of a service that processes crypto transactions via a text message. No internet connection required. According to the exchange, the initiative was launched in response to a call by the president, who urged companies to develop payment mechanisms parallel to the traditional banking system. The president emphasized the need to create offline payment systems compatible with the new Petro crypto. It's not a cryptocurrency. For those of you who don't know, the Petro is the central bank digital currency of Venezuela. But the Petro isn't being singled out by Cryptolago. The exchange has enabled offline transactions for all tokens listed on its platform, In other words, Venezuelans can now send Petro, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dash, and Glufco, the token of the Venezuelan crypto investment bank, without the need for an internet connection. The platform also enabled a module for transacting in bolivars, the national. Why would you do that? Have you seen how? I have to use the word worthless because it's true. How worthless their fiat currency is. Like, there are photos and videos of people walking down the street with pillowcases full of money to buy flour. Why? For now, the service is only available for registered users, obviously, but the onboarding process remains relatively easy. The real problem for Venezuelans might be finding an agreeable rate for their petros. Wow. The point being, for those of you who don't know, this country is under heavy sanctions, and they've also just been accused of, like, crypto crime. I'm not joking. You can find the article. So I guess this is why there's a call for a need of an offline payment system, because their lights are probably going to get cut off and not by the electric company in the very near future. This isn't new, but it's something that I think should continuously be built upon. You can even see right here, this is an article from January 2018. It says you can now send Bitcoin via text message. This was in the good old days when crypto was about allowing people all around the world to be able to use it low cost, for free, trying everyone to get access to it. It was discovered or realized that there are billions of people on the planet who do not have access to the internet. So the idea was, as many people around the world do have access to smartphones and or mobile phones, that they would simply be able to send these coins, cryptocurrencies, through text. There were many initiatives that actually got started, but I would love to see if this was like an everyday parallel thing. Like, in general, if I'm on an app and I'm texting my friend, I would like the option to be able to send them crypto, as opposed to having to, like, go to a crypto exchange or go to another app or go to something else or have to do KYC or whatever the case might actually be. That completely changes the face of what crypto is. If you are able to send crypto and money through a text at will, then it leaves the idea of trying to control crypto exchanges completely to the side, because who cares? I can just send all the money through text. Anyway, yeah, that's the Venezuelan crypto news. It's very cool. I think things like this will definitely come in handy. But I think I don't know. It feels like a lot of the focus within the cryptocurrency space has kind of like shifted to completely different areas. But yeah, that's that news for today. Do any of you remember about 4 or 5 years ago, if you look at the image, like how the phone looks? Remember I remember. I used to go on Engadget and all these other websites, and they used to always show that within like 5 years that phones would look like this. They'd be like transparent or clear or super thin or super this and super that. And then we're 5 years later and we still don't have phones like that. I wonder if we'll ever have phones like that. They just showed what the new iPhone's supposed to look like. It looks like an iPhone 5. I guess we're going backwards. Gonna have those bricky Nokias in a couple of years again. Anyway, as always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. They are, hold on, I Have to Sneeze, Crayola Michelle, URL, On Crypto with Lionel, Tikara, Machonisa, Bake Me a Cake, Arfmedic17, Anytime Fitness, Monks Corner Staff, Bodie McBoatface, Yes to Crypto, Kyle Skips Leg Day and Miller Hitch Chest Every Day, Minting Coins, Jeremy Fox, Jim Gardner, Anthony Charles, Nick Mon, Jalavori, Paxis, Cryptombeer, Shipmate, Vlad the Impaler, Richie Rich III, Nick Kanaya, Setsuna, Damien, Nicholas, Renard, One Piece, One Love, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Milweezy, Adobo, Bankroll Network, Crypto Joe, 242 to the World, Wise Night Owl, Jared Schneider, Brady Niels, Master Ventures in Thailand, Moya Maroni, Adam Graysick, Todd Mullis, Barebones Mining, a Bibliophobia, The Animal Reader, John Sarson, Mr. Pickles, Nostromo, Josh Gorsica, Chongololo Tsongololo, Martin Steuer, Joshua Vineyard, Moonman High, XRP, Yasha Harari, and Professor Wally from Gunbot University. Thank you all very, very much for your support. And I do say thank you to all of you who are members of the channel. At the moment, the market was up when I started the video, looking like it's starting to slide down. It's a very volatile market at the moment. There's just a lot going on. I think we are in some type of an actual struggle between people who think or have said or have predicted that Bitcoin's price is going to go up nearing the halving, people who said it's going to go up during the halving, and people who say it's going to go up after the halving. And then you also have the other side of it, people who are actively betting against the price of Bitcoin. Don't be fooled and think that everyone is going to love this revolutionary new technology. There are people who there are people who short and bet against major companies because they simply don't like them. So one can only assume that there's at least one person on the planet who does not like Bitcoin and is actively trying to short it, just to make sure that prices end up falling and people lose confidence. There's always that one. I'm gonna save my words because, you know. But yeah, the market's kind of all over the place. There's no real direction for anything. Binance coin is up. No real news as of now why it's up, at least at the time of me making this video. I assume something has happened in the last hour, the last couple of hours. Maybe it's just simple, normal bullishness because Binance coin is being used for usually all the new trading pairs on their platform. Maybe they're burning coins in the next couple of days. It could be a multitude of things, and I assume we'll get that news as the day ends up going on. Ether is up slightly. It could also be the news. I mean, we've heard no delayment as of yet for the launch of Ethereum 2.0. Guess that could be it. But yeah, we'll see where this day takes us. It is still the beginning early of the week, if you will. Bitcoin Diamond has rushed back into the top 50, where it belongs, because, you know, we're all using Bitcoin Diamond. I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. And I will most certainly, I'm sitting so weird. What's wrong with me? And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.